This is the United States Embassy in a country we shall call Hostland. In actuality, Hostland does not exist, but this fictional nation has many counterparts. Small countries in which outside alien hands have planted the seeds of subversion. In this story, Hostland will typify such a country. A nation seeking its own independent path to progress, but stalled in its forward march by a subversive force that grows more malignant with each passing day.
Gentlemen, the pattern here is familiar. Mr. Jaffa, what is your government doing about this?
As you know, we have had some success in counteracting their efforts, but never quite enough. At best, we have achieved a containment, stalemate. Now, with the sudden intensification of subversive activity, the outbreak of violence in the eastern province, my government is firmly convinced that a full-scale internal defense operation is the only answer for the problem. That is why we have once again come to the United States for help. As to our specific needs, you will find them outlined in the official requests which we have submitted for your attention.
Of course, we've been aware of your problem and the step-up of subversive activity. We have plans for this type of emergency, prepared in advance and continually updated.
So I've been informed by your military attaché, Colonel Adams here. You have men who specialize in internal defense operations, familiar with the situation we're facing.
Then you are specifically requesting
that you assist us in ending our current training program. We've got to set up and staff new training centers for officers and NCOs, and we must move quickly. With your government's help, we should be able to accomplish our objectives in much less time. And time will be a critical factor.
I feel confident that my government will give you every assistance along those lines. In fact, we should be able to have additional advisors on the way here in a matter of just a few days. Other specifics?
Frankly, Mr. Ambassador, we lack the trained men who would be able to plan and implement operations in an area we think is vitally important. Because of this, we are also requesting that your team of advisors include a senior officer who is thoroughly experienced in psychological operations.
Very well, sir. I think we can provide you with an expert on the subject.
This man is the expert on the subject. His name is Leo Hamilton, and he is a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army. Earlier today, he was designated the Psychological Operations Staff Officer Advisor. Soon, with the other officers on the advisory team, he will be flying to Hostland. In the area of psychological operations, PSYOP, Colonel Hamilton qualifies as a veteran with considerable field experience. Now he is building on that knowledge, supplementing it with specifics concerning Hostland, its geography, its economy, its governmental structure. Above all, he is concerned with its people, their way of life, their religion, their culture, their sense of national identity, or lack of it. He must know the people of Hostland, for their minds will be his primary objective. As promised by the ambassador, a team of American military advisors arrives in Hostland just a few days after that country's official request for assistance. Their initial destination is the United States Embassy, and they are met by a representative of the military attaché. Like the others on the team, Colonel Hamilton has come to his assignment well prepared, but he still faces many hours of additional study and research before he can begin to initiate a PSYOP program. At the embassy, he meets with the local United States Information Service representative for a briefing on all programs that may be already underway in Hostland. He reviews the psychological objectives the United States hopes to achieve in Hostland, objectives based on official U.S. foreign policy. He confers with the chief of the United States Agency for International Development. This knowledge is of vital significance, for his efforts must harmonize all other American activities within Hostland. His next stop is a Hostland Army post. He meets Lieutenant Colonel Matrak, who will be his counterpart, the man with whom he will work in very close conjunction while he serves in Hostland. With his counterpart, he reviews all available sources of information that will help him determine the attitudes of the population. How do they feel about their country, their government, and how do these feelings vary from locale to locale? A comprehensive accumulation of data is reviewed, but it is not seen as unalterable fact. It is rather a guideline for further research. And all such further research is done firsthand. They literally tour the country, sounding out the people and their leaders, seeking face-to-face meetings that will pinpoint national and local problems, what they are and where they are. In the cities, they attend labor meetings. Through interaction with such groups, their understanding of local issues is enhanced. They meet with labor leaders and industrialists. Their main goal is to find out the feeling of labor and industry toward the military and government of Hostland. In many cases, the feeling of the people toward the military establishment is similar to that shown toward the existing government. Psychologically, the military in every country in the world represents government authority. Military psychological operations cannot function independently. They must always reflect the national policy of the host country. To establish the target audiences for any military psychological operations, all functional groups must be checked and their reaction to the military establishment determined. Teachers, writers and publishers, farmers, and religious leaders. Each will have a perspective that is peculiar to his own particular group. Problems, real or imagined, will come to the fore. This face-to-face, eye-to-eye confrontation with the population provides the PSYOP officer with a tool that is essential to his job. Insight, a look into the minds of a people, a working knowledge of their individual and group needs, attitudes, and ambitions. As with most countries that find themselves in the midst of a communist-inspired insurgency, Hostland has a population with a doubtful sense of national unity. Hostland does have problems, economic, social, and emotional, and subversive insurgents are always aware of them, always ready to promise instant solutions for the price of revolution. In the more urban areas, where there is less dissension and more of a sense of national integrity, subversives achieve only minor disturbances at best. But real grievances must not be ignored. In the rural areas of Hostland, where government supervision and control is only a wispy thread, the subversive makes stronger headway. Here he is free to promote his objectives. Here he can recruit and frequently obtain the direct support of the civilian population. The potential recruit is carefully selected. Perhaps some injustice, real or imagined, drives him where he reluctantly goes, to the side of the subversives. In some areas of Hostland, the subversives have so deceived the populace that they have very strong civilian backing. Here they are openly combating government troops. Initial analysis indicates that the target audiences can be broken down into three basic groups: the subversives, the government supporters, and then the big group in the middle, the uncommitted civilians. Any PSYOP effort will have to encompass all three groups. Having mentally worked out, altered, rejected, and then finally accepted plans for the military psychological operations program, they now prepare to put them on paper as a formal proposal. They list the major psychological objectives, then the various functional group target audiences, the objectives for each of these functional groups, the severity and stage of subversive insurgency in which the various target groups find themselves, the proposed psychological military activities that should be instituted, and the proposed program to help these activities. After securing recommendations and the necessary approvals from his own people, and making sure that the military psychological operations plan fits in with the USIS country plan already in effect, the plan is checked with the government of Hostland. Approved by them, it now becomes the psychological operations doctrine for the Hostland military forces. To implement the plan, it becomes necessary for Colonel Hamilton to request the support of military training teams, elements of a U.S. Psychological Operations Battalion assigned to his theater of operations.